Would you like to learn how to dynamically create sheets in Excel based on your template? So, for example, let's say you have this data, and then for your column A, every time there is a field or a text you want to create a sheet and then take this row and put it into that particular sheet. Hey guys, welcome to Code with Mark, where I share helpful videos to help you become a professional web developer a lot faster. If you are interested in learning how to become a professional web developer a lot faster and learn technologies like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP, MongoDB, MySQL, and others that are going to help you create amazing, awesome web development app, do consider subscribing to the channel. Let's say there is a first row, second row is the HTML, and what I want to do is I want to create a tab, and I'll put in HTML, and then I'll go back in here, copy this row, put it in here, and then there it is. And next, this will be the manual way. And then next, I'll take this row, put it in here, and then do that as well. That is a very time-consuming process. If you want to learn how you can dynamically create these different tabs, at the bottom, I'll show you how to do that in this particular video. So what you need to do first is go over to your file, because we want to enable a option called right over here. It is called the developer tab. If you don't have that enabled, this is how you do it. In case you didn't follow, let me do it again. So I'll go over here, file, options, and then under the customize ribbon, make sure you put a checkbox in here. And before I do that, if you look at the menu up top here, it will not come as an option for a developer. As soon as I put in here, click OK. Now we have the developer tabs. And then from here, we can do and run our magic. So what I'll do first is I will just insert a shape. So I can make that a button. I'll just put a square. I'll just put it right over here. And in here, I'll just put in create sheets. And just for giggles, just put it in here, modify it a little bit. And I think we should get it bigger, but it doesn't. But okay, that's fine. All right, so let's get to it. So from here, what I did was I have a button, so-called button. It's not a button yet, but it will be. So I'll right click over here and then assign a macro. And then from there, I'll just put I can give it any name if I want to. Call it a create underscore sheets. And then in here, I don't want to assign it all the books, only this particular book. And then I'm going to click on create, and this will open up your Visual Basic Code Editor. Now, this is where it is going to create this particular process that you could do it. So what I did was I already wrote the code for you. So I want to make sure you don't spend a lot of time writing this code. And obviously I will make this code available for you to download it. And the link will be in the description. So here we go. Copy this and I just put it underneath here. Actually, I'll just put it right here under module. And in case if this module is not available for you, you could just click over here. One second. If you just click over here, that will become available as well. So new modules, you're going to paste that code and I will walk you through it, how to get through it. And then from there, I'll just click on save and it's going to ask me to save it. And on the desktop, I'll save it. And also just make sure you're saving this as a macro book. Otherwise, this is not going to work. So I'll just save it as a book 1 for right now. And now what we will do is I will run the code and then we'll walk through it step by step how it goes. So I'll just go over here, call it this. And now the code is enabled and I'll show you what it does. So let's go to our book. And right now we have no tabs whatsoever and there is nothing hidden. So we'll just create it by clicking on this button and then voila. And then at the end, this is the confirmation box. What that does is, let's say if you're using this as a template, and then every time you want to have a new data in here, you can literally delete it manually, or in this case, it's going to ask you, do you want to delete this data right now? At this moment, I'm going to say no. And let's take a look at the tabs at the bottom right up here. So it created the 3 tabs, even though we have 7 rows. It recognizes that there are 3 different categories. So we got HTML, jQuery, and PHP. And then it's going to create these tabs, and let's take a look at it. The HTML, there should be only 2 entries. So we have 2 entries, and it also formatted it for us a little bit, whereas it froze the first row and then also put a filter in here just to make it a little easier for you. And then for your jQuery, there should be 2 entries as well. So there's 2 entries. And then also for your PHP, there should be 3 entries. So there are 3 entries in here. So now let's say, hypothetically speaking, you're using this template and then come tomorrow or an hour later, you have new people coming here, and then you want to add this data to your particular sheets. All you got to do is click on this button, and guess what happens? Boom. It will add it, confirmation, and then it's going to add 2 more entries. And then also what this does is it will also allow you to, in case later on in the near future, you decide, oh crap, I have to add another column to this. So we'll just call it C1. And then for this one, nothing there, 2, and we'll just say 3. And for this one, we'll leave it alone. So at the moment, there is no column name C1 here, but if I click on this sheet button, it's going to add that column for us here, and also appropriately add it wherever this row exists, or the number of times we have added in here. So in here, here, and then also in here, which is this right here. So that is the process of creating it, and let's walk through the code on how you would write it or customize it for your own project. So this is just the macro that runs it, and this is the function that I put in here that I have put in there for you. So what you can do is, let's walk through it. So these are just declaring a variable, and this is the most important part of your code, which will be the name of your sheet. So in this case, it is this template. Everything is based on this template. And if you want to change it, you can call it my sheet or sheet 1, whatever you want to call that, right? And then this will get you the last row number with the data for your sheet. And then also will get you the letter, your column number, which means that it will go and figure out for this was the last column that has the data, then it's going to get the number of that particular column. In this case, this will be number 6. Then the next part is going to convert this letter number into a letter. And then we're going to go with the last row column, which in this, whatever the value is, you don't really need it, but in case you want to, you can add it in there as well. So what that means is this. If I go back here, so in this case, the last column is this, which is column F1. What is the value in this cell? In this case, it's C1. So that is that. And this is just housekeeping. You will do it once and that's that. That's not where the magic happens. The next part is where it is going to get this particular row table, lack of a better word. So if I put in here, and there it is. Where did it go? Here we go. Okay, so this will take all of the row and put it into a table variable, which will be this. And then it's going to appropriately, I'm sorry, going back and forward. I just want to make sure you can follow through it as I'm walking it through for you. So in here, it's going to assign a variable called table, which will be assigned as a range, which will be your rows in terms of your database structures. You got your columns, you got your rows. So this is going to get you all the rows that are appropriately here and assign it to this. And then we're going to go through a for loop and go through it and loop through the whole, all the rows. In this case, there are 7 rows. It's going to go loop through all of them. And then first thing, what it will do is it will assign a variable, which I declared it up here. And then this code will get you the first column, which is this. And then the first cell, in this case, it will be HTML. Next will be jQuery, so on and so forth. And then also it's going to get you the range, which in this case for this whole row, it will be A2 to, what is it? In this case, F2. It gets you the whole range. This is it. And the next part, it will check to see if the worksheet, in this case will be HTML, exists already, which means it's already created. If it's not created, then it's going to go to this block of code. However, if it's already created, then it's just going to add that row in there for appropriately. So let's go through here. So in here, what it does is this one line of code, since we already assigned the sheet name to a variable, in this case it would be HTML, jQuery, PHP, so on and so forth, then it's going to just add a new sheet at the end of the sheet. So what the hell does that mean? That means that we have HTML as the first row. If it finds it, then it's good. And then it goes through here, jQuery. If it does not find it, it's going to add a jQuery at the end of HTML. So the order of your row matters. So whichever order that you have is going to appropriately add a sheet on that way. And then it's going to take the first header, in this case it will be row 1, and put it into HTML tab. And then it's going to add the second row, which will be the row of the data. And this is only happening if you don't have a sheet created. And then it's going to make that sheet active. And as you can see, I already put a note in here to make it easy for you in case you want to play around with it or customize it for your own project. And then it's going to activate that particular sheet. In this case, will be HTML. And then it's going to freeze that row. And then actually it's going to select it, A2, then it's going to freeze it. I'm getting ahead of myself. And then it's going to auto fit it, which means if this right over here is smaller and this is hidden, it's going to automatically fit the row for you, or column rather. And then it's going to add filters, which you could see right over here. And you probably notice I'm like, damn, Mark is doing a whole lot of stuff. And for some reason, this one is not working. But if you figure it out, you let me know. It's supposed to make this whole first row bold, but for some reason, it is not working. But if you can figure it out, you let me know in the comment section below. So this is what happens when the new sheet is inserted. However, if it already exists, the old sheet, I mean the new sheet already exists and now it becomes the old sheet, then it's going to go through here, it's going to go to the next row. So let's say in this case it found an HTML sheet. Now it's going to go say, hey, I already put that in here. Next I want to put this column or this row, and then it's just going to take the last row number of that sheet and add to it, which in this case be this. So for example, let's go here. So in this case, the last row is number 7. and now we want to insert it in number 8. So that is what this +1 will do for you. Took me a long time to figure this out, but it's worth it. And now you can take the benefit of my knowledge and apply to your own project. And then it's going to insert a header first row in case, like I showed you before, in case if you added another column, let's say column G, H, so on and so forth, it will add a header there and appropriately add a new row data based on that. So that's what's happening here. And then next but not least, adds the whole row to the new row. And then it will auto fit it in case you have more data in there, so forth and so forth. In case if you don't need the auto fitter, you could literally just put apostrophe in here, it will comment it out, and that is that. So that is what's happening here. And after going through the whole process, then it's going to go back to your template and make that the active sheet. So this is what you will see. However, for some reason, if you don't want it, you could put the sheet name, whichever sheet you want to make it active. So in this case, it will be the HTML, jQuery, PHP, so on and so forth. Last but not least, it's gonna show you a message bar confirming, do you want to delete everything from the template? If you said yes to this particular dialog box, then it's gonna delete it, and then you will have a brand new template. So what I will do is this. I will make a copy of this just for giggles. So here it is. So this time around, what I'm going to say is delete everything. So here it is. So I'm going to click on create sheet. And now I'm going to say delete it. It's going to clear all the content. And now you are ready to put it in again. And all of the data that was here is going to go over here, and then so on and so forth. So in this case, what I'll do is I'll just take this. And I put in here, I'll just change the name to, let's say, code with Mark. Here it is. So just this. And it will only go into HTML. So I'll go over here, create sheet. Yes, clear it. Now if I go over here, here it is. So it's codewithmark.com, so on and so forth. So if you like this kind of particular video tutorials, make sure you follow me right over here. And if you feel like I've missed something, then go on and leave a comment below, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.